How do you crochet a perfectly round circle? There are two methods and one is the best. I'll show you those methods in a sec, but first, here are a few things you need to know about crocheting in rounds. In my previous videos, I've shown you how to crochet in rows. This involves crocheting in horizontal lines from left to right. But when you crochet in rounds, you're crocheting in a continuous spiral starting from the center. This is super important for making things like coasters, hats, baskets, and amigurumi toys. My first crochet circle was in December 2023 when I made my first amigurumi toy. Over the next 15 months, I've made a ton of projects that involved crocheting in rounds, so I know that the first thing you need to perfect is your center. And there are two methods to starting the center of any crochet circle: the chain method and the magic ring method. Let's start with the chain method. First, make a slip knot on your hook. Now make 4 chains. Insert your hook into the first chain you made and make a slip stitch to form a loop. And voila, we have a ring. This loop will be our foundation. So now we're ready to work our stitches into the center of the ring. For beginners, I recommend making 6 single crochet stitches into the ring, like this. That's 1 single crochet stitch. There's another one. So as we go, you'll notice that the stitches form a small circle at the center. When you're done with your 6 single crochets, simply pull the yarn tight and continue working in a spiral. Before I show you how to continue expanding your circle and crocheting in a spiral, I'm going to first show you the second method for creating a center, which is the magic ring method. So the magic ring can also be called a magic circle. This is by far my favorite method for starting a round circle, especially for projects where I don't want a hole in the center. So here's how to do it. First, hold your yarn between your 2 fingers to form a big loop. Now, insert your hook into this big loop and pull your yarn through and hold it at the edge of the circle like this. Now make a chain to secure the yarn. And voila, you have a magic circle. Now you need to work some stitches into this magic circle to start your center. So just like we did in the previous method, we're going to make 6 single crochet stitches. So to do that, we will insert our hook into the loop again like this, grab the yarn, and create our single crochet. So we're going to do 6 of these. Once you've done all your 6 stitches, grab this short tail and pull it tight to close up the circle at the center. See how neat and closed the center is? This is why the magic ring is great for amigurumi and projects where you don't really want to see the hole in the middle. Okay, so now we figured out the center of the circle. But how do we keep going? Well, there are 2 ways to continue crocheting in the round. There is the spiral method and the join method. So in the spiral method, we don't join at the end of each round. Instead, we keep going in a spiral. But to keep track of where we started, we'll have to use a stitch marker. So I'm going to put a stitch marker at the first stitch of the round. This little guy will help us remember where our round begins. So each time we finish a round, we move the marker up like this. and we just continue crocheting in a spiral just like that. For the second method, which is the join method, we slip stitch into the first stitch of each round before starting a new one. This method creates a more structured and even look, and it's perfect for granny squares or projects that need a clean finish. Now, in order to continue growing your circle, you need to do something called an increasing stitch. An increasing stitch is when you insert 2 stitches instead of 1 stitch in each stitch. I know that sounds a little confusing, but let me just show you. So for your next stitch, we do a regular single crochet. And instead of going into our next stitch to do a single crochet, we do our single crochet in the same stitch as we just did the first one. So that is called an increasing stitch. An increasing stitch has 2 stitches in 1 stitch. So these increasing stitches will help your circle become bigger and bigger. The general rule of thumb when it comes to making your circle bigger is to first start off with those 6 single crochets that we did for our center. Then we make an increasing stitch for each of the stitches in the next round, which will give us 12 stitches in total. For the third round, you do an increasing stitch in every second stitch. So that's 1 regular single crochet stitch, then for the next stitch, it's an increasing stitch. So you alternate until you have 18 stitches in total for that round. And then for the following round, you do an increasing stitch for every third stitch. So you start with 1 single crochet, then another single crochet, then an increasing stitch. And you just keep going with that pattern, so every 4th stitch, increase every 5th stitch, until you get the circle size that you want. And that's how to make a perfectly round crochet circle. I hope you found this video helpful, and feel free to subscribe to check out more videos like this. Bye!